Have you ever found yourself in a relationship that's draining your peace, self-confidence, and sense of self-worth? In today's video, we'll explore 9 clear signs that indicate it's time to cut all ties, even if it's with a close friend or family member. Imagine this. Is there someone in your life who constantly makes you feel guilty, judged, or as if you're only valuable when you please them? As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Recognizing this will empower you to find strength. Remember, creating distance is not selfish. It's a necessary step to protect your peace and self-respect. This video will not only help you spot these dangerous red flags, but also provide you with powerful tools to confront them, free from guilt or hesitation. Stick around until the end, because I'll reveal a subtle yet common sign that many of us overlook, and how you can free yourself from it forever. Before we get started, if you find value in these insights, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that strengthens your spirit and enhances your relationships. Now let's dive into the journey of reclaiming the freedom and respect you truly deserve. First, avoid people who never spend money. Have you ever encountered someone whose first words to you are about not having money? It's easy to empathize if they're genuinely struggling. But curiously, these individuals often live comfortable lives, indulging in personal pleasures like trips or hobbies. Yet when it comes to you, they suddenly claim financial excuses to avoid responsibility. This isn't about poverty, it's about calculated behavior. Reflect on whether you've been in such a situation. If so, you'll realize this isn't a sign of a balanced or genuine relationship. I once had a friend like this. Every time we made plans, he had an excuse about not having enough money. Yet I noticed he had no problem spending on luxuries or impressing others. When he declined a trip we had planned, I realized the issue wasn't his finances. It was his lack of appreciation for my company. Relationships should be based on fairness and mutual care. If you feel like you're always the one giving while the other person takes advantage, it's time to set boundaries or even walk away. Your life deserves connections that bring joy, empathy, and true value. Second, avoid people who constantly argue and take offense. Have you ever felt trapped in a relationship where every conversation turns into a battle? This is what happens when you're with people who can't stop arguing. These individuals not only blow minor issues out of proportion, but also drag you into their conflicts, forcing you to take sides. They don't just harm their own lives, they drain the peace out of your relationship. I once had a friend who would escalate every difference of opinion into a heated argument. One time, during a casual gathering, we were discussing a trip, and a small disagreement turned into a full-blown argument. He insisted that I take his side in front of everyone. That was when I realized that maintaining a balanced relationship with someone who frequently stirs up conflict is impossible. Arguing constantly shows a lack of emotional control and insecurity. Wise individuals prioritize peace, understanding, and resolving issues calmly. If you often find yourself drawn into unnecessary arguments, pause and reflect. Cultivating calmness will not only protect your relationships, but also safeguard your inner peace. Harmonious connections are treasures worth cherishing. Third, avoid people who dismiss others' concerns. We all carry our own burdens in life, and the value of our worries, joys, and sorrows is immeasurable. One of the most disappointing experiences is when we share our struggles, only to encounter people who magnify their own concerns while ignoring or dismissing ours. This behavior erodes trust and damages relationships. I once confided in a longtime friend about the challenges I faced in balancing work and caring for my aging parents. Instead of showing empathy, he brushed off my concerns and shifted the conversation to his own pressures. That moment hurt deeply and made me realize that relationships thrive only when both parties respect and truly listen to each other. Respect isn't always grand gestures. It's often found in small acts, like expressing gratitude or offering a sincere apology. Surround yourself with people who genuinely celebrate your successes and empathize with your struggles. Fourth, Avoid people who try to enforce their religious or political beliefs. True connection lies in recognizing and appreciating differences, not in imposing our beliefs on others. Yet there are people who constantly try to convince others that their way of thinking is the only correct one. This behavior exhausts us and fractures relationships. I once had a friend who would always try to convince me that his way of life was the only right way. Initially, I tried to debate with him, but it soon became clear that these arguments only pushed us further apart. Constant arguing doesn't foster understanding, it only leads to resentment. Wise individuals never argue to prove they are right. They listen, empathize, and know when to step back. True victory in relationships isn't about defeating the other person. It's about overcoming your own ego to find harmony and understanding. Fifth, if you feel distressed when meeting a friend, avoid them. Have you ever noticed that someone who once brought you joy now seems distant? This doesn't always mean that they've changed for the worse, but rather that life has taken you both in different directions. Life evolves, and so do our interests, values, and perspectives. Relationships that once felt in sync can become disjointed over time. A colleague once shared how his childhood friend, who had moved away to start a career, became distant during their rare reunions. The conversations felt forced and unfamiliar, and over time he realized that they had grown too far apart. Instead of clinging to the past, he chose to step back. Letting go isn't about erasing someone from your life, but respecting the changes both of you have gone through. Sometimes letting go is the healthiest option, allowing both of you space to grow in your own ways. Sixth, avoid those who constantly complain about themselves. Everyone needs to share their struggles, but when someone continuously unloads their frustrations without regard for your feelings, it can drain you. I had a friend named Sarah who would come to me with constant complaints about her job and personal life, while never once asking how I was doing. I was emotionally drained, but it wasn't until she criticized me for not responding quickly enough to her messages that I realized I needed to set boundaries. Not all sadness should be shared, and you are not obligated to be anyone's emotional dumping ground. Learn to listen selectively and prioritize your time for those who genuinely care about you. Seventh, avoid people who break promises easily. Have you ever been let down by someone who made promises but failed to show up or honor their word? A promise should be a commitment, a sign of respect and trust. I once waited at my favorite coffee shop for a friend who didn't show up. After an hour, I received a message saying she had forgotten about our plans. It wasn't the first time this happened, and I realized that this behavior wasn't just inconvenient, it was a sign that I wasn't a priority. Relationships based on empty promises or indifference aren't healthy. Respect yourself enough to walk away from relationships that no longer add value. Eighth, avoid people who repeatedly talk about the same worries. If someone constantly brings up the same problems without trying to solve them, it can leave both of you stuck. I once had a colleague who frequently complained about work, but never took any steps to improve the situation. I tried offering advice, but she repeatedly dismissed it. Eventually, I had to tell her that if she wasn't ready to make changes, I couldn't keep going in circles with her. Meaningful relationships are built on mutual support, not on endless complaints. Ninth, avoid people who boast excessively. Have you ever met someone who constantly recounts their past achievements? At first it may seem interesting, but over time, you realize that these stories are just a facade to mask their current struggles. Boasting about past accomplishments doesn't elevate your worth. It often makes others feel disconnected. True confidence comes from being present in the moment, not from clinging to past glories. Humility strengthens relationships and fosters authenticity. I'd love to hear about your experiences and triumphs. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share your story in the comments. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning challenges into opportunities. I'll leave 2 more videos here for you to continue your personal development journey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.